This is what gaslighting looks like. Not this, NVIDIA. You know, I'm gonna preface this by saying I feel bad for certain people at NVIDIA. There's people we know for years that work there that are passionate about what they do with their jobs, passion for games, passion for building amazing hardware. And then there's the leadership. And there's a huge disconnect between that group of people at NVIDIA versus the people we talk to on a regular basis and the people we interact with at NVIDIA. There is the biggest disconnect like I have never seen in a brand. Obviously, I'm about to talk about the 5070 Ti being discontinued and the 5060 Ti probably very shortly thereafter, if not already discontinued by the time you watch this video. The reason why I say that this is like the ultimate gaslighting is the shortages at which NVIDIA is using as the drive for discontinuing these two products is because of their AI business. This is no surprise to anyone. Anyone that has even a fraction of a functioning brain knows this. But what we're seeing here is rather than targeting a 32 gigabyte product to say, we cannot meet demand. Let's go ahead and back up for a second here. I'm sorry. This is a very non-scripted, none of my videos are scripted, but this is a very non-scripted video that's coming from a very just fed up position of this entire fiasco. So it's gonna be kind of all over the place, but I digress. The 5070 Ti is a 16 gigabyte part. The 5060 Ti has a 16 gigabyte part. There is an 8 gigabyte variant of that as well. The 5070 is a 12 gigabyte part, and the 5060 is an 8 gigabyte part. The demand that they cannot meet is not for these products. It is for the AI products that NVIDIA is currently creating. I forget the name of their AI GPUs they develop. I'm talking about the big ass fucking ones that are like the size of my table that are a GPU, because they are gobbling up the RAM. I think the term is hoovering up. I imagine a vacuum cleaner sucking up all the RAM chips off the ground. That's really what's happening here. And to meet the demand of their professional customer, that being the millions upon millions of data center machines that are being built, is what they can't meet the demand of. So they have to look at where can we now allocate or reallocate components and or materials. They looked at their stack and said, we've got the 5090 at 32 gigabytes. We've got the 5080 at 16 gigabytes. We've got the 5070 Ti at 16 gigs, 5070 at 12, 5060 Ti at 16 and 8, and then we've got the 5060 at 8. Rather than say, maybe we should slow down production on a Halo product that is, well, admittedly, now the poor man's entry into LLMs, to be honest. And I say poor man's because it cost anywhere between $2,000 to $3,000 and going up on average. And I say between because the MSRP of the 5090 is $2,000, which you know sells for way more than that. And then all the AIBs start at about $2,500 and go up from there. These are what entry-level LLM users and AI developers are basically using. Then you've got the RTX Pro 6000 at like $9,000 plus, and it only goes up from there to the hundreds of thousands of dollars for the GPU product. So rather than say we could save RAM by producing less 5090s, or producing less 5090s and allocating some of that memory towards this product stack to keep this going, which is admittedly, like this is like the upper cap for many people on what they can spend on a graphics card. It's like, it was about $750 at the time. It's gone up significantly even since the news broke because of panic buying. They've decided to discontinue the product because that 16 gigabytes of RAM can go towards the professional product or continuing to build more 5090s. The 5060 Ti 16 gig obviously falls in that same boat. The 8 gigabyte category will stick around because it's 8 gigabytes, and the 5070, they still have to have a 70 tier. They can't get rid of that tier entirely. This is one of the reasons why you're not seeing the super cards, which were rumored, which absolutely positively were in development. We know this for a fact because there has been Ti super variants now for several generations. Obviously, if they're gonna have to discontinue the 5070 Ti, it would look very strange for them now to come up with a 5070 Ti Super. But I don't know, maybe in another crazy world, they'll get rid of the 5070 Ti and then just bring out the 5070 Super or 5070 Ti Super. and then call it a day. Like, they never needed to keep them all around. I don't think that's what they're doing. I think they're just reallocating those chips to another product. I call it the ultimate gaslighting because it's kind of being, NVIDIA has not confirmed this. Obviously, we are working off of reports of rumors, and then Hardware Unboxed's recent video where one of their AIB partners actually told them directly this is what they've been told by NVIDIA. So this is definitely the game of telephone, but I find Hardware Unboxed to be credible. So I'm taking that information as gospel at this point. I haven't reached out to any of our direct AIBs, but it doesn't matter because the reports are already out there and they've already confirmed it on their end. As far as I'm concerned, we'll operate on that information as if it is exactly what's happening. The gaslighting comes from the fact of it making you feel like, oh my gosh, consumers are buying up the 5070 Ti at such incredible rates, we can't keep up with demand. So because we can't keep up with demand, let's just go ahead and cancel it. Why on earth would you cancel a product if it's that popular? Wouldn't you want to scale demand? Wouldn't you want to scale up production to try and meet more of that demand? No, it's because NVIDIA cannot make the same kind of dividends off of a $750 product, asterisk, because it's definitely more than that. It's because they want to just continue to build out their AI inventory and their AI customers. So it's gaslighting because you are kind of being sort of blamed for it, but the reality is you are not the problem. The product finally made its way down to MSRP, only to immediately hit a springboard and jump back up into scalper territories because it's opportunistic for people to now run out and buy these because that's about the only product people can afford. And so now it's opportunity, and that's what scalpers basically thrive on. This is kind of unprecedented as far as I'm concerned, because in 13 years, I've never seen anything like this. The other funny thing is there's still no evidence of AI actually being profitable for anybody. So, well, let me rewind. It's profitable for NVIDIA into the trillions of dollars because NVIDIA is basically the 2026 version of a late night infomercial trying to sell you the concept of you can get rich by buying real estate if you buy their book. And the book is how that person's making millions of dollars, not on the real estate. You get rich by selling the idea and selling the tools that somebody else finds out later didn't actually work. So NVIDIA is gaslighting the consumer by removing about the only consumer-ish friendly product in their entire stack so they can continue to Scrooge McDuck around in their giant silo of money. For those people right now that are probably typing, this is why I love AMD. They're not your friend. AMD is not your friend either. AMD just doesn't have the scalability that NVIDIA does in terms of capital to move quickly, but they're on that trajectory and CES proved it. The amount of people that were just like, AMD, 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 you understand AMD is just following NVIDIA's lead, right? You understand that apple literally fell from the neighboring tree. They are related. And so many people still don't even realize that Lisa Su and Jensen are related. But I can promise you that AMD is just following NVIDIA's path. It is a profitable path. It is a path that is working for NVIDIA, and AMD wants their chunk and their slice of that pie as well. So please stop fooling yourself into thinking that AMD is actually your friend. Now the same thing goes for AMD. The people we talk to at AMD, all of the product developers, all of the product managers, the marketers, they absolutely love and believe in the product that they are involved with. But there is a huge disconnect between leadership and those teams. So please let me be clear. When I say NVIDIA, screw them, blah, 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 I'm not saying screw those people. I feel bad for those people. I feel bad for those people that are involved in the designs and all of the effort and energy that goes into creating what they believe is the greatest product they can come out with on either side for gamers, only for gamers to just be completely shunned by leadership. We already know Jensen's entire philosophy on all of this. And this is, we'll talk about a bigger problem in a moment here, but when when Jensen got on stage and said, AI is the house that GeForce built, we were nothing but a rung in a ladder to get to somewhere else. And now that it is less than 10% of the total revenue, I don't know what the profit is like for NVIDIA when it comes to gamer grade hardware, but now that it's far less than 10% of its total revenue, it's obvious what the writing on the wall is. I don't think they're ever gonna stop making gamer graphics cards. I just think the gaming landscape, as far as we know it right now, until this AI bubble bursts, is we have no idea what this is gonna look like. The other thing I wanted to say is also the backtrack on the whole concept of Jensen's policies that they are a private company that is not to be, involved with government and all of that. Well, we obviously know which direction that went. So now you're just seeing extreme bootlicking on a level that is just, it's gross. It is so unabashed. It's disgusting. So to see that 180 tells me everything we need to know about NVIDIA's leadership as a whole. Again, I think the products are amazing. Nobody can deny, with the exception of the melting connector problem, which NVIDIA plays a part in because they were a consultant with PCI SIG. So is Intel. We all can agree the 5090 is a brute of a GPU. It just unfortunately comes with a brute price tag to go along with it. Could you imagine if the 5090 was $1,000? Everyone would want one. There was nobody out there that wouldn't want one at $1,000. Now, whether or not you can afford it doesn't mean you don't want it, so don't fool yourself. But at the same time, I don't know what the future is going to look like regarding a lot of this. So I think what we're going to see is the 5070 continue to exist at 12 gigs until they start realizing now they need to steal more memory chips from the production line and the packaging of products. Because we already saw NVIDIA remove the chip packaging for the AIBs, right? AIBs have to source their own chips, which has led to an artificial inflation because individual AIBs do not have the buying power that NVIDIA does in terms of quantity. We all know the more quantity you buy, the better discount you get. NVIDIA is keeping all those chips for themselves. So the 5070 12 gig will stick around and the 5060 Ti 8 gig will probably stick around because they still have to have those stacks. But this is just one of those things where this video is probably nothing more than making myself feel better. Let's not fool ourselves. I think Steve at Gamers Nexus does amazing due diligence involving uncovering so much of this information in these document trails and stuff, but it doesn't matter. Nothing's going to change. The whole Palantir thing, I understand the reasons behind the whole real push on the grossness between the Palantir and NVIDIA collaboration there. It's not making any difference. It's not going to make a difference. And I'm not saying we shouldn't be loud and vocal about it. I'm just saying don't expect anything to come of it, is all I'm saying there. So you might as well, you'll actually get better results yelling at the passing by cloud than you will getting Jensen or anyone in NVIDIA to actually listen to people like us, because we do not generate trillions of dollars for the tech mega brand. So my recommendation, I don't have one. It's rare that I don't have one. This news broke a few days ago. Took me some time to get to this one because I was busy repairing this guy, which, fun fact, I finally did it. It's not perfect. I've got to redo it again because I have some leads that aren't jointed as well as I need, so I'm getting some variance across some of the amps per pin. But the bottom line is the card still works, it still boosts, it does everything I need it to do. It just has some unevenness on the pin amps, and that's 100% because of my solder joints. I can work on that. So I stuck with it, and I'm doing another video about using this card, of removing and replacing the connector and hopefully doing a better job. But after watching about 12 hours of Alex's videos at Northridge Fix, did I finally figure out some of the technique to at least have a solid starting point to build upon. And I'm thinking now it's more important than ever that I be able to repair my own cards, because it's like we're becoming Cuba of graphics cards. If you don't know what I'm talking about, because of the whole Cuban Missile Crisis back in the 60s, and the fact that Cuba has been blockaded and embargoed for so long, they had to learn to make their own stuff to keep their cars running and all of that. And it's all just from random crap on the island that keeps the entire infrastructure running. If you ever watched, look, if you're bored and you're like, I need a break from tech stuff, go on YouTube and just look up Cuban engineering. And you will find some of the most creative and interesting ways that regular ass people have kept their 1957 Chevy running because that's the newest car they could get at the time. So it is fascinating, and I kind of feel like that's where I'm entering regarding graphics cards right now. And for Louis Rossmann, I'll probably try and hot glue something together just to spite the guy, but that's fine. Anyway, time to get out of here. This video is for nothing more than me to get it off my chest and now put it on you. So you do with it as you will. I don't know what the future looks like on this. I don't think the future of games is going anywhere. I just think we're going into the dark ages a little bit regarding what new hardware is going to look like. And let's just all collectively hold our breaths so that we can wait to hear the pop heard round the world.